folks, and welcome to another Saturday morning Samoflange.
Booyah!
I'm Benjamin.
I'm Matt.
Why you got a booyah on my intro? I finally get an intro, and I'm like,
sorry.
hi, folks, welcome to another Saturday morning Samoflange. I'm Matt.
Booyah! Oh, doggone it. I mean,
and then we back
I'm Benjamin.
Yeah, okay, well,
So
anyway.
off.
I don't know why I like to say I'm
Samson.
Matt. I really like to say I'm Matt whenever I get to do the intro. It's just, it feels right.
Does feel right.
You should get someone named Matt to help co-host this. Or I could just change my name. I'll just do that.
Whee!
And then we'll be just, preschoolers on the playground.
Hey, welcome back.
Because that's what we're going to talk about today.
I'm so
Hey,
happy
you know what?
to see
I'm
you.
glad to be here. I'm always thrilled to be here.
You know what we should talk about?
This is the best part of my week.
This is the best part of my week.
Yeah, Saturday morning.
Grade school.
And we've talked about that before. Oh, man.
Yeah, but
Why?
you hated Cub Scouts. You hated grade school, too.
I did hate grade school.
Crack me up.
I don't understand how people have top 5 grade school memories, which we are going to ask people. We're going to ask people who listen to this podcast and say, what are your top 5 grade school memories? And I challenge our listeners to not think of something negative first, second, and third that comes to mind. Like, is that what happens with you? Like, do you think about grade school? Like, so we're talking kindergarten through, or pre-K maybe?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you were in pre-K, I never was
didn't do
in
the pre-K.
kindergarten either. I think I
went to
started first
kindergarten,
grade. I may have done kindergarten.
Are we talking
I don't remember.
through 8th grade?
Yeah, I think so.
So through middle, or because we had this conversation about what constitutes as elementary school and what's junior
I told you
high.
middle school could count because I don't remember what that
And
was.
I
That
have
6 through 8 or something?
Yeah, 6 through 8.
Or 7th and 8th is
typically
middle school? Okay.
junior high school, and then 9, 10, 11, 12 is high school.
My
This is in
memories-
America, at least.
My memories don't go past. I mean, my
memories
top 5
don't go
don't go past 6th grade.
6th grade. So you are straight up elementary school.
Yeah, I'm straight up
to
elementary
most
school.
people,
Not
I
on
guess.
purpose. Not on purpose. That's just where
I think now it's been
we
changed
moved.
a bit because it's like 1 to 5, and then 6, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't care.
We moved when I was 13, and then we got homeschooled. So
Changed
I don't have
everything
any other
after
memories
that.
of that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that explains a few things.
So all these. I should mention my grade school. The school is still there. It's closed, but the buildings are still there and creepy.
I was just about to say creepy.
Are you ready?
Is it like exactly what you would hope?
The desk and the chairs are still there.
No, they're
and
not.
to my knowledge, like I remember putting them with the teachers and everything on the lap because they closed up the school. And so we went up there to help with Dad, and we helped put those chairs on top.
The year you moved, they closed the school?
Yeah, because
And all the stuff that you did?
a bunch of kids were leaving, and they just felt that there wasn't enough
So they
kids.
closed the whole
Because
thing
it was a
down.
small town. There's only 2 schools in town:
Wow.
the public school or the little Christian private school.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, people were just throwing them in the public school, and they always had enough to go. But then they found out the entire 6th grade was going to graduate and go to whatever, because it was going to be high school
All right,
or
forget
something.
that. What happened? What was the creepy stuff?
No, the desk and the chairs are still stacked like we did.
Did
I wonder if no one
you
even
leave some
has no one
secretly
been in
coded
there.
messages like for yourself?
I bet there's still color markings in my
write some on the
desk
black?
inside my desk.
That gum is still there.
I don't know, but I looked into it a few years ago.
You should, sneak
Megan
in
and I
there
went by
and,
there.
Take a little baby doll, like a porcelain baby doll, and stick it
Well,
in
my
there.
playground, my old playground was still up for the longest. Then they
So,
finally
like-
took it down because it was dangerous.
Okay, so the playground is there.
Yeah, they took it away.
But it was like straight up Terminator 2
But
post-apocalyptic
the stepping
playground.
stuff, there used to be enclosed, a gated whatever thing. But inside the gate was a puddle always. The rain just kind of puddled on one little side. So I remember
like bad engineering.
someone's dad sawed a tree log, just like a little flat, disc-shaped tree log, and he put it on top of that little puddle area so you could step on the tree log over the thing. Tree log's still there
Oh my god!
in front of the gate, and I was like, shut up.
I wonder if you went in there, how many things would occur to you that? Oh my gosh, that's still here.
Well, yeah, one thing, and I regret it because they eventually threw it away, but they had the little spin around thing.
Merry-go-round.
And, yeah,
But
I can't
not-
remember. It was something, you sat in the middle and you spun
twisted
it and
the
you
wheel.
all went around.
Yeah.
And you all went around as a group. They still
like
had
the
that when it
power
was
merry-go-round.
kind of dilapidated. And the next year I went, they'd gotten rid of it. I was like, I would have brought by a flatbed trailer and just taken it. Because that thing was so much fun. We threw up so many cheeseburgers after riding that. That was a dumb idea to put that in the playground. You'd ride that after your lunch.
I don't
and
think I ever
recess,
threw
and
up
then
on the
you'd puke.
playground. I don't think I ever
You'd
did
puke.
that. No.
I don't know a kid that didn't puke if they sat there all day on that thing.
Wow.
My brother lost his entire lunch several times because that's all he would play on. It's like you think he'd be smart enough to, not do it. But anyway, so I do have some good memories. You go ahead and go first with number 5, though.
Well, it's a struggle, all right?
Okay.
And I've told you this before. I don't think I've ever talked about it on the podcast, but I was born with my right foot completely backwards, and my left foot was severely club-footed at birth. So I had to have surgery before I left the hospital as a newborn infant. And I spent a lot of my childhood in different size casts, and
really, even at that age.
Yeah, I had different surgeries.
It was a slowing as your body's growing.
Correct. As my body grew, I had to get a new cast every so often, and so I had to get special shoes, like straight up Forrest Gump style, not all the way up and down my leg, but
I know what you mean.
I had a metal bar in between my shoes to force my feet to stay straight ahead.
Yeah, as they're growing.
And
like braces.
Something like that, yeah. So exactly. And so we had to get new casts and new boots everything else. And it was a routine for me to go to the hospital fairly regularly and to meet a new doctor or to see an old one and to go through the process. And it got to the point where I was so used to doing it. I remember very vividly one of my casts coming off, the buzzsaw that they used to cut through it. Have you ever broken a bone?
Yes.
I've never broken a bone except for my right big toe, but I've had more casts.
It was a toe that I broke.
The more casts than anyone I know because of my feet growing up. Wow. But I've never actually fallen out of a tree and broken an arm or something like that, But I've had tons of casts on my legs, and I remember one of the casts came off as they were buzzsawing me, and the doctor was probably an intern or something. He nicked me with the buzzsaw, and I was bleeding, and he was like, did the whoops, and my mom's in the room, and she's freaking out. I'm like, Mom, cool, chill out. Like, I was so used to the procedure, and she wasn't always in the room when this happened. So he cut me, and that was the only time that ever happened. But I was cool because I'm like, he's just got to do his job, Like, cool. I was
professional.
Like 4, but I'm consoling her. I'm like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's no big deal.
That's fine.
And there's a couple, because it was experimental surgery at the time too, and so we did a lot of stuff through the Shriners Hospital, which I'm still very grateful for. And they have identified more of what the birth defect is, but they still don't know to this day what causes it. It's like a 1 in 50,000 chance, I guess, and they think it might be genetic, but they don't know. So, and no one else in my family has anything like it. But the point is that I was not the fastest kid on the playground, right? And when you are that age, being fast is very important.
Yeah.
Because you want to run around, you want to burn off all this energy, you want to be a nut and throw up cheeseburgers off the merry-go-round. And that was a badge of honor, and I think you got a merit badge for that in Boy Scouts too, which was a different podcast, but I'm sure you had all of those. But I didn't have a great time. I just really didn't like elementary school because it was a struggle for a lot of it for me. It really was. And I'm not trying to do a sob story because I've literally lived with this, right? And I'm not proud of it.
Yeah, no.
But I have these huge scars on my feet and my ankles. You can see this one right here. All the way up the back of my ankle. I've got a 12-inch scar that goes all the way across my foot because I had to cut my foot completely open. And
did you ever lie and tell a big cool story about how you got it? Because
Yes.
I would have told I was attacked by a bear.
I have.
And stuff.
Yeah.
I definitely would have done that
many times. Yeah.
I definitely would have done that.
It's too
you have to
tempting
do it.
not
yeah,
to
it's too tempting.
have a good reason for it. But at the same time, the truth tales is that I didn't like elementary school because I just didn't get to do much, and it was hard for me to understand why I couldn't run as fast as the other kids. It was hard for me to grasp the fact, what am I doing wrong here? Because I feel like I'm doing the same stuff that everybody else is, but why am I not working the same way? So it was a confusing time. But if I had to list a elementary school moment, I guess, I really struggled with this one too. I struggled with the last podcast and finding good Cub Scout and Boy Scout and Weebelows and everything else. And this one was a challenge for me too. I'm trying to decide which one I want to do with my number 5, but I guess the only thing I can think of is I really, because of that history.
Yeah.
And I feel like every kid has done this, or at least most of the ones all that I know, when you're on the swing sets, the big swing sets, you launch yourself. I do this as an adult. You launch yourself at the highest point,
best feeling
at the
in the
apex of the swing, the momentum.
I push my little girls on the swing, and they're having fun. I said, "Y'all don't even know what fun is."
You don't even know until you let go.
Until you.
They tell you to let go, and boy, they're
Just
not wrong.
let go.
Just let go. I'm telling you, you're gonna love it.
Seriously,
you'll
you
never
get
be able to
that
look
sky,
back.
You feel like you are Superman.
That is exactly what I was gonna say. And so, like, my number 5 is pretending to be Superman because my feet didn't work, right? And so I loved the daydream of being a superhero for those 0.2 seconds that I was launched and only could see blue, and I came crashing down crazy hard and busted myself up every time. That was the first thing that I really thought of that was a joyful thing for me at that age. Thinking about elementary school, have you changed your top
on
5?
me for not
have you
doing that.
completely forgotten? No, we didn't do crossover
people
either.
Pushed
but
you so high,
right?
They'd run underneath you and push you up with their hands as they. And that's when you get the biggest sky, and you do one or two.
And that was the litmus test of when they couldn't touch you anymore, and then you were gone.
And then you had to do it pretty quick
because
the momentum's going to be lost.
Perfect timing.
And then when you reach that, you jump, and you are sky.
Like, you feel like an Olympic
high.
athlete at that age, and it's amazing. And like no one else can do this but you, and it's fantastic.
That is honestly one of the best feelings in the world.
I took my nephew to the playground too. We just took a McDonald's break because I needed to get out of the house because I've worked from home for the past 3 years. You know, pre-COVID, I was working from home.
It would freak me out now, but it's the best feeling in the world.
No, it's great. It's still great. It's still great. You should.
We used to run. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. We used to run when recess hit because you had to because there were 3 heights of swings in our play. The high one, the super low one for kids that no one wanted to get on. The medium one that if you couldn't get on the high one, you had to get on the
low
one.
Had the puddle in the bottom like everybody.
It was scraping. It was for little babies. We hated it. But I felt like I had to have the high one because I was a tall kid. But everyone wanted a high seated one because you could go higher.
Because you could go higher, right? You could launch. Yeah.
See, I should have put that one down.
Is that in your top 5 now, you think?
Keep going. Are you done?
Supplant a mystery? Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm done with that because it was...
Yeah, it'd probably be number 4.
I was never able to run out when the bell rang for recess, because I wasn't going to get there first. So I never tried. Like, I knew I wasn't going to be getting there first because of my feet. And so I just was like, all right, well, I'll just get there when I get there. But man, somehow I always got into that swing. I got in there somehow.
Technically, it's my number 3. In a way, I can fit it into my number 3. So yeah, I can combine it with something else. But yeah, okay.
So do you think, like with the Boy Scout episode, we forgot to do crossover guesses because we didn't expect to have any, and we ended up having one, which was the Pine
weird because we shouldn't have one here.
That's what I'm saying. But that's a universal kind of feeling. But I never thought of that,
and that's really good. The swings, you're right on that. Okay. My number 5.
Go for it.
Rainy days.
What?
Rainy days at school.
What a great...
You got to stay inside and play.
Yeah.
And we had 2 things that made my life. Tinker Toys and board games.
Oh,
believe it or not.
Oh my goodness.
3 board games.
The addiction begins.
And I tried to play all 3 within the recess time.
Wow.
It was a trilogy of The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian, and Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Wow.
They had all these are old vintage games from the 70s or 80s, if anyone remembers these.
Wow.
And for a while, I almost searched them down and got them, but they're simple roll and move. But the thing is, though, I tried to play all 3 during recess, during the inside, because you couldn't go outside. You had to stay inside. Now, if it wasn't a board game trilogy, it was Tinker Toys. And we made these little cheap little, stupid little Tinker Toy ships. But the thing was, they came together like Voltron to form a big giant robot. Yeah. Well, with you and all your friends, what we did is we split up all 5 ships. Were you more a
Voltron or a Transformers guy then?
Both, but I love Voltron back then. So we made the super robot out of the 5 ships we put together. Okay. So then we took apart the 5 or 6 ships, and we spread it on to our 6 friends, and we hid them in our desk. Now, you got a whooping, and you got in trouble if you had toys at your desk.
So contraband.
If you kept toys, so contraband. And if someone caught you, because I remember one little kid, he couldn't help it. He was flying his little ship under his desk, and the teacher caught him, whooped him.
And that was it.
But he didn't rat on us.
So I would have kicked him out of the team. So you had a whole group of like people you could walk up to, and you're like, "So I hear you're a man who knows how to get things."
But the thing is, though, if you didn't get to the Tinker Toys first, someone else did, and then you couldn't have Tinker Toys enough to build your ships.
Yeah, it's a really selfish little brat.
It was. We were all selfish, but it was my idea. I was the king of selfishness. So I just put it in there and everything. So those rainy days were good memories for me.
I had Tinker Toys. I had Tinker Toys at home. And so that was never a rush to get to the Tinker Toys. And it's interesting, though, that you raced outside on the sunny days to get to the swings, and then you raced to the Tinker Toys to get the toys you wanted and the board game you wanted, right? Okay. So
Yeah. There's a race with the other kids.
I guess you're right. Like, yeah.
It's like a prison yard. You had to fight.
Yeah.
You had to fight for that candy bar, that
See,
pack
I think
of smokes.
we're slowly discovering a little bit more about why I did not like elementary school.
What's your number 4?
Vampire Bats. Great Vampire Bats is my
Our
number
first
4.
crossover.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Vampire Bats. I'm listening.
Vampire Bats.
Great. This is great.
So, do you know my friend Caleb Lucelle?
No, I don't think so.
We went to elementary school together.
Okay.
He's an idiot. And I love him.
Okay.
And he's quite literally the funniest person I know. And I honestly, like, I would put Robin Williams, number 1, funniest person ever, and then Caleb Lucelle, number 2. And so he was my closest friend in elementary school for a few years. And I got in so much trouble because he kept making me laugh. And I just could not help myself. And he always found the stupidest, most preposterous, ridiculous ways. And he still does it to this day. He can say anything, and just the way he says, it's just like Robin Williams. He could take any subject and just riff and make it funny. And I feel like Caleb did the same thing to me all the time. And I got in trouble all the time for talking. And we've already established how recess wasn't my most favorite time in the world.
Right.
And so I didn't really care if I got quote unquote detention and had to stay in. And so I remember I believe it was 4th grade for me, which is 9 years old. And Caleb and I got in trouble almost every day, daily.
Right on.
I got in trouble for talking, and then the teacher it became a habit of hers to say, "You two are staying in for recess." And we're like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, lady.
Okay, yeah.
We know the drill. Like, just move it along." And the thing is that for detention, we had to copy lines from the encyclopedia. Whatever we wanted, just had to copy it, and it had to be however many pages long, and it had to be turned in by the end of recess. And so we would sit at our desks, and it was usually just the two of us. You know, maybe some other idiot would get caught for talking, and we would ostracize his ass, and he'd be over on the other side of the room, and we'd be over there copying lines. But we always copied lines from the same encyclopedia, which was the V's, which had vampire bats in it, which was one of the few really cool pictures that they had in there.
Yeah, I agree.
And they had stuff about vampires in there.
It's awesome.
And so we would literally, we practically memorized the page of the letter V with VA, vampire bats, and we would write it out, and we had it so well versed that we didn't even need the book, because we would write the same exact thing, but we knew we would trade it off. Hey, what's that sentence? And we would go back and forth because we didn't need the book. We had it so memorized because we just stayed in and wrote lines, but we were just goofing off and having a good time. And that was my recess for me.
Wow.
I had so much fun just copying lines and didn't care, because we would find something, we'd try to look up butts or, something preposterous.
Before the internet, folks, there was the
Encyclopedia Britannica, which is giant, thick books, right? And then sometimes we got to sit and read and whatever, and they had the choose your own adventure books, and
BRE,
yeah.
BREA.
Yeah. DI, right. Whatever you're looking for, it's all in there.
Bread.
That's
what I was talking about. What are you talking about?
And so
look at that. Look at them buns.
I'm going to be a baker. But the other thing I remember from that same thing, which it could also be in this same story, but could also be its own number, in my top 5, were and I never had these at home. I had Tinker Toys, but not the Choose Your Own Adventure books. And I don't know why.
Oh, man. Love
but my school, it felt like, had an abundance of those things.
Really?
Yes. And only in one particular classroom.
That's cool.
But I loved reading those. And
those are cool. Those were cool.
They were just the coolest book in the world. Still are. I love those things. And I wish that they made them more commonly. It doesn't seem like they're that common anymore.
I don't think so. My parents still have a few from our childhood, I think.
Yeah. And I would really try to get through those adventures and not
Remember
die.
when you turned to one page, you saw it was just half a page? That
You're
meant
like,
you
no, I'm not going to
did that one.
And I will never forget. That's how I learned not to drink salt water. You know, if you're stranded on a raft on a desert island, and you're like, what do? You're really thirsty, but
yeah,
you
but
don't
some
know.
of those were, do you follow or do you not? And you're thinking,
Yeah,
well,
it's like, I got nothing to go on, lady. Exactly.
And one's going to be a bad decision. Well, how was I supposed to know?
Exactly. One of them was like, you're literally dying
Not
from
like
thirst.
someone's offering me a pack of cigarettes and asking me if I want to knock over a bank. Yes or no? It wasn't that simple.
It's not Lisa showing you the caffeine pills on Saved by the Bell. It's straight up like,
I was so excited.
right. Oh, man. So, yeah, that was the choice. It was like, do you want to sit on the raft and starve to death, or do you want to try to drink some water? It's like, well, I guess I'll try to drink the water.
Or do you want to eat your friend Billy? What do you want to do? You got to survive.
I guess I'll Billy. You're dead. And, like, he's already dead anyway, and blah, blah, blah. But it was fantastic. And they had those mystery solving books where they would give you a clue and like a picture, and then they would say, well, this guy came in and he told the lawyer this,
right,
and he was actually lying because, and you had to try to figure out why.
Right, the detective kind of.
The detective figure it out, but based on it as. And I remember this one because the guy was like, he said he was suing the golf course for a golf ball coming through his window when he was hanging a picture, and it like came in through the window and hit him on the head, and then it showed a picture of the guy, and he had a bandage on his forehead, and I called that out immediately, like, this guy's lying because he said he was window, but he was like, his back would have been to the window if he was hanging the thing, and so and then he turned the page and like, yeah, you're right, because
look at you,
right. So and the rest of them were
Brown.
like, right, and the rest of them were just like, vampire bats. I got it nailed. You know, anything related to that, I would have had. So
nice.
That's copying lines from the encyclopedia is one of mine.
I'm gonna go and see if I can find one of my dad's old Choose Your Own Adventure ones.
That'd be great. I'd love to see that.
Number four.
We
had a treasure chest, a cardboard painted treasure chest. It was nice cardboard, like it looked like a treasure chest.
Nice treasure.
And you stuck your hand through a covered quilt sleeve, and you had to reach in there and you could grab a little toy.
That sounds familiar.
If you did good. If you did good on your test, or you did good today,
that
or you were the first
familiar.
one to clean your desk.
Yeah.
And so you go reach into the treasure chest and peel out, and it was like a pencil, an eraser.
Right.
I'm 43, so this is in the 80s.
Shut up. You know what I'm talking about. Like
what?
I thought. Like, do you have any idea about how old you were when this?
Oh, I mean, 10, 11, 12.
For me, that feels like a very, very early
10, 11, 12.
school. Like, I'm talking
honestly,
like 5 or 6. I feel like the treasure chest was there.
The one I wanted to get was the Pac-Man eraser set.
There was a set?
Pac-Man, and then Inky, Blinky, Winky, and Clyde,
Sue.
or whatever.
Clyde.
Yeah, whatever.
Clyde was the original, and Sue was Miss Pac-Man.
And I was like, what the heck? And so I didn't know there were ghosts until I reached out and I was like, oh, and then there were 4 different ones. Well, the thing is,
and that was a whole set.
You could go around, you could feel in there for a little while. So you could feel what the ghosts were.
But then you
couldn't feel the color.
Oh.
And they had little googly eyes on them.
Of course.
Stuck on them. Well, I never used any of those erasers. I know friends that did. And I used if I had doubles of a ghost, I'd use the ghost.
But I think we talked about the ghosts during the cereal episode.
Yeah. And I think I said this. I found Pac-Man erasers. And the one I couldn't find was the red guy.
Yeah.
And I looked for him
Blinky.
everywhere. And I remember
a little fast one.
That it was our last day of the year, and if we did something, we each got to go in the treasure chest. So I did, and I pulled out, and it was another Inky. I was like, no. And I went up to my teacher. I said, hey, teacher, I'm so sorry. I said, look. And I said, can I give this back? I said, I'm really looking for a red. I don't have a red. I've been looking for one all school year. And I said, can you please just open up? You could not open up the treasure chest and look. You had to stick your hand and say, can you please look in there and just exchange this one for a red one?
You didn't ask to look.
And
you
I
asked her to look.
So she did.
Because it was like looking in the Ark of the Covenant.
And she dug
your face
and
is going
dug.
to melt off if you look
Matt,
in there.
I don't think there's one here. Oh, wait, here's one. She held it up. It was like, oh, and it was like so special
like
to
the Holy
me.
Grail comes out.
And they had that rubbery
That's
new
great.
smell. And I'd smell. I was like,
can I just give some props to the Ark of the Covenant reference that I just threw in there? Because that was really great. Because that's it's coming like I'm just seeing your skull melt off as a 6-year-old right now, and it's just fantastic to visualize.
I set her up for the fall. If anyone's skull was
don't look at it, Marion. She's gonna dig in for the treasure chest.
If anyone's face was about to melt, it was gonna be hers. By the way, I closed my eyes too.
Close your eyes, Marion. Don't look.
Whatever you hear.
Yeah.
Whatever you hear. Okay, so. Yeah. Yeah, just after that day, there were no Nazis left at my school. All right, so.
Wow.
Okay, so.
Because they've got top men working on it right now. I wonder who these top men are investigating if your ghost school you've got lying around back in your hometown. That's really creepy.
I wonder if the ark's still there.
Probably is.
The symbols are all burned off. It killed a rat, but it's okay.
Poor rat didn't do anything to anybody.
Okay. Number 3.
Is this my number 3 or my 2? I feel like I'm on 2.
Oh, you're on 2?
I kind of had like my feet in the casts were sort of the number 5 for me, sort of thing.
Should I just do it?
Yeah, I think you should go ahead.
To be honest,
I had feet in the cast, swing set, vampire bats.
Okay. That's right. Okay. So we got off a little bit. Okay. So number 3, basically playground memories. I forgot about the swing.
Yeah.
So I remember.
I
don't know. I'm telling you, I don't know.
You were throwing up cheeseburgers on the merry-go-round.
But we used to have we used to do the jump rope, and Cinderella. Went upstairs and kissed a fella, dressed in yellow, made a mistake and kissed a snake. How many doctors did it take? 1, 2, 3, 4.
You were a master.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
But you had to have 2 good jump ropers.
Yeah,
it was a team. It was a team effort.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd be one of the jump ropers. One girl always wanted me to be her jump roper.
You needed the momentum.
You needed the jump ropers had to be on target. Yeah. That was big memories. My mom taught us one thing, and then all the kids started doing it. Back then, you took wax paper and you slid down the slide a couple times, and it made the slide really slick or whatever. Yeah. And then everyone started going down the slide really quick. But because she'd wrap our sandwiches in wax paper, and then we'd ride them down
all wrapped
the slide.
Up with playground memories in general.
Yeah,
is that
remember wax paper
sandwiches and jump rope.
And lunch boxes and everything. Lunch boxes.
That would be in my top 5.
I didn't think to say that.
That is something that my brain
how
just
cool your lunchbox
with.
was.
How cool the lunch. I had the He-Man lunchbox. I had
a Shirt Tails.
I had the purple.
I had a Disney train. Old Disney characters.
We talked about this before with the Dinobots.
Yeah.
But I had the bad Dinobots or whatever, the purple one. Like
cool.
I had the big bad guy
Insecticons
base.
or whatever.
Yeah, not the Insecticons
or whatever.
Still dinosaurs, because they had purple and whatever. But anyway, but I had the Decepticon lunchbox and all that stuff, and I had He-Man. And
you were proud, and they were tin.
Oh yeah, and then became plastic,
and then they came plastic later on, late 80s.
The tin ones,
I had a Return of the Jedi one.
Man, that was good.
That was a good memory. Came with a thermos that matched.
Ooh, you know what just jumped into my number 3 spot or number 2 spot was I think every Friday or something like that, we were allowed to bring a movie. If it was approved by the teacher, we were able to bring a movie from home or something like that. And I remember being so proud of the fact that I had Return of the Jedi on VHS. And I got to bring Return of the Jedi so everybody could watch. And I remember telling my friends, watch this part. This guy's going to get shot in the face right there in the forest. Boom! And freaking out, because I had Return of the Jedi memorized at this point, and I was just watching it constantly. And I got to bring it to school and be proud of the fact that I was responsible for bringing the movie. And it was Return of the Jedi was the one that I brought.
That's awesome.
Come on,
that's awesome. We never had that.
Nah.
But on the part
how lazy of the teachers is that though? Get the kids to bring a movie. I'm too poor to even pick one out. We don't get the children to bring a movie to school.
What are we gonna watch?
Look, Miss Foster, I still love you. It was. I appreciate everything you did for us. It must have been a tough job even then, and I can't imagine what it must be like now.
I'm telling you. So one of my, but also with playgrounds was we used to play the old Farmer in the Dale. We used to play the old school kids games. Used to play Farmer in the Dale. Someone start with the farmer. Farmer picks a wife picks a child picks a dog picks a cat. We used to do that. We used to play Red Rover.
I know the rhyme. But
we'd all hold hands. Red Rover.
I hated Red Rover. Yeah.
And if you broke through, you took them to your team.
Yeah.
And you'd always try to find the 2 weakest kids, but then they found the weakest kids. But you were trying to put a strong
I'm on the
person.
Other side of the table from you bastard.
But you had to put a strong kid with a weak kid to help him out, because that kid would get bowled over, but you kept holding on because you wanted to keep that person. But the thing is, sometimes you got busted so you could hold that girl's hand. You say, "Oh, I just didn't make it past these 2 hot chicks. Guess I had to hold their hands." Yeah. That's cheating in the opposite direction. That's cheating to lose. That's playing to lose. But we played a weird game called Colored Eggs.
I feel like I remember that.
Did you play this game?
Yes.
Shut up. I thought we were the only ones. Here's how it went. I know exactly how it went.
the name of that.
Everyone sat in a little huddled group, and then someone came up. He was the big bad wolf. Knock. Who's there? Big bad wolf. What you want? Colored eggs. What color? He go, red.
Yeah.
And then whoever picked red had to run around the entire, fenced-in place of the schoolyard. If the wolf caught him, he was the new wolf. If he didn't, then he was safe, and he didn't have to be the wolf.
Duck Goose variant.
Yes,
right?
but on a big thing.
But I remember that.
You had to go all the way around the
No, I
playground.
remember that rhyme. I do.
But we got some guy was like, I want to be fuchsia green. I said, I don't think you can
come
do that, dude.
on.
Because he'd try to pick colors. We accepted all the base colors.
That's the kid who
plus
cheated on his merit badges and stuff too.
Like we accepted forest green and I can't remember what other purple,
the
sky
colors,
blue.
The colors that were in the
crayons.
Crayola box.
Yeah, gold and silver
you
were also colors.
Maybe up to 64.
But we had a lot of kids, so we had to get. But one kid was like trying to make up these random.
How many kids did you typically have in your class? Do you think?
I don't know. I mean, about 15.
I feel like it was like 20 or 30.
20, yeah, it was under 20. It had to be under 20, I bet. But, I mean, and not all of us would play, but maybe 16 of us would play, and that's a lot of colors there. And we're kids. In fact, the first play I ever did was at that school. It was about these two kids who were coloring, and they fell asleep, and that's it. I wanted that role because all they did was color and then fall asleep. And then while they were asleep, all the other kids had to dress up like crayons and talk about I'm the color red, I'm the color orange, I'm the color blah 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 blah, I'm the color yellow. Well, guess what? When it got to me, it was either green or brown. I was not going to be the color of poop, and so I said I'll be green. I remember the kid behind me went, dang it.
No!
Because he had to be brown. And I remember I was the color green, the green of the trees, the green of the grass, the green of the whatever.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
First play I ever did. My brother was the first one to pick. He picked one of the kids who fell asleep, who colors and falls asleep.
Of course he did, because he wants to be Sebastian from the Neverending Story.
Well, no, he did. He wanted to be the kid that has no lines and just sit asleep through the whole play. Lay down. That's all he had to do.
You know what's funny is that if they did an adult version of that play, you would still pick that role, I bet. You would still want to do
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. I want the least amount of words.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that is your MO.
Deadpool says maximum effort. Mine is minimum effort.
Can I still get into the program? Yeah. Can I still be on stage? Can I still hold hands with that hot girl for just a second? And not do anything really.
Just a second.
That's all I need. I don't need much.
Okay, what was number 2? Did we talk about your number 2?
I don't know, but
go ahead.
My number 2 that I have listed here is Cheyenne, Wyoming. Number 17, because
the town?
Yes, sir. I know all 50 states' capitals to this day because of Caleb Lucelle. Same guy.
Okay.
Same class. That bastard got me in trouble because we were taking a history test or a geography test, and he didn't know the answer to number 17.
Which was?
Cheyenne, Wyoming. And I had it answered. He looks over at my paper. He sees I'm well past where he is, He's like, hey, that's number 17. And I'm like, dude, the teacher's in the classroom. Calm down. Like, he's whispering, like, vocally whispering, stage whispering over to me. What's number 17? And then it got so preposterous, people started laughing around us that they're like, don't be stupid. Like, if you tell him the answer, you are so going to get in trouble. And you're going to have to stay in and copy lines about vampire bats. I had no fear. There was no punishment that was going to threaten me with that kind of thing. So I didn't care, right? And so the teacher eventually, he kept asking me loudly during the test.
Benjamin, what is number 17?
17. But he would say 17 in just the dumbest way, right? He would find a new way to say 17. And the teacher finally gave up. And she told us, shh, be quiet, taking a test.
Yeah.
She eventually just walked out of the room so that I could tell him what number 17 was.
She left the room. She let you cheat.
No, I didn't cheat.
You didn't even tell him?
No, because it was so funny at that point to not tell him. And we were making everybody else in the class laugh. And so he almost shouted at me. And when she closed the door, he's like, what's number 17? And to this day, he can text me the number 17. And we will still laugh about it.
Funny.
And it has never gone away.
You should have just turned to him and said, Jackson, Mississippi. That's great. That is hilarious.
Yeah, but it's odd because I do still remember all the capitals. But anyway, yeah, that's my number 2.
My number 2, on Fridays, they had the kids clean the school.
See, I got movies in Return of the Jedi. You had to clean the place.
Every kid, one kid had to banging the erasers was the number. If you got to pick first, you bang the erasers.
Like Queen's Gambit, go down to the basement, play some chess with Mr. Scheibel.
Exactly. Everyone wanted to bang the erasers. That was the best job. That was the best job, was banging the erasers. All right. You get to make white puff clouds.
You got to.
Worst job was clean the bathrooms. No one wanted to do that.
Exuberance in your
No one wanted to do that.
No one cleaned the. You had to clean the bathrooms.
Had to clean the bathrooms too, and the teacher would watch and inspect. Now, if you couldn't bang the erasers, the next thing you want to do is go out in the playground and look for trash, pick up litter. Now the thing is, one that no one ever wanted, and I started picking, and then I started picking from then on out, was sweeping the cafeteria.
Why?
No one wanted that because you had to put the chairs upside down on all the tables, and then you had to get the big, broad broom and sweep around, sweep up all the thing and sweep it out.
I never had to do this level of manual labor for that.
It was on Friday afternoons. We always had to clean up.
That sounds awful.
That was the only spot where the teachers did not supervise. Teachers were out in the playground supervising. They were in the school supervising. But the cafeteria was a different room, and you could just sit there. So what I did...
So they supervised you banging the erasers too?
Oh, because you were outside. So the teachers watching the playground also watched you.
But inside in the cafeteria.
So the cafeteria was a separate building.
Meanwhile, back in the lab.
But you had to get a teacher to come look and inspect once you were done. That's how they could tell if you finished it. So I was all by myself. I loved it because I didn't have teacher supervision. And I did it really quick. I'd throw the chairs up really quick and then sweep real quick. Because then I had another thing. See, there used to be it was called the milk board.
The milk board?
The milk board was behind the counter. The milk board told you what you got on your milk on your tray for milk. Because we brought our lunches, but there was milk you could buy from the school. And your parents paid for it every week. They paid, I believe it was... 20 cents or 25 cents for milk, 35 cents for chocolate milk, okay? Regular milk. And sometimes your parents could give you double chocolate milk.
Yeah, this was the conversation we had earlier about how precious chocolate milk was.
And my parents didn't, of course. We got chocolate milk only on Fridays.
Right, of course.
So, but what they do is they'd pay on Friday, and so the board would be reset for the next week. What each kid was getting Monday through Friday, the milk board. Okay. It was just a marker board.
But not. It sounds like it was very important.
And I looked at the marker board and I went, I wonder.
Well, no, you didn't.
And I took my name.
And it was in the cafeteria.
I took my name and I erased one of the W's. And I tried to, and this is so stupid, I tried to copy the other C to make it look exactly like the other C. Like they're going to notice if the C looks a little funny. What? But I tried to forge the other marker C, the letter. Wow. I tried to forge a letter on there to see if it would work. So the next Monday I roll around, the lady looks at the board, and she just gave my brother white milk, and then she gives me chocolate milk.
Oh.
And I was like, inside, I almost peed myself.
You were screaming inside.
My heart was thumping out of my chest, too.
Had to be.
Because when she said, that's weird, it says, I was going to go, I didn't do it. I was just ready to scream. But,
you're ready to confess.
I was ready to confess. But
you went along with it, man.
I was like,
eyebrows in the top of your head.
And I was like, holy crow, it worked. So then
every week,
just like any robber, you get bolder as the weeks go by.
Please tell me more.
I had chocolate milk every day of the week.
Day of the week.
Twice on Fridays. I did the double C.
Wait a minute. How did you get... So did Matt C pay for chocolate milk every week? His parents pay for it?
No. My parents were paying ahead of time. They marked on the board, but then I would go back and change the board.
Oh, my God.
And they always got extra... just in case. They always brought extra just in case because you could bring. Parents would give them change.
You could bring on the day of.
You could bring money the day of and upgrade or get an extra milk. You could get an extra milk or pay for an extra chocolate. You could pay for all extra.
Holy cow.
But not me, man. I was getting chocolate milk for free. My parents were getting a great deal. They were paying 25 cents for 35 cents. And then eventually 70 cents a day because I gave myself double chocolate milk every day of the week. I felt like Stone Cold Steve Austin with 2 chocolate milks instead of beers. I was banging those cartons together, bathing in chocolate milk. My little brother's drinking one white. He's like, how come you always get chocolate? I said, dude, they just give it to me. I don't know.
At this point, the lunch lady's in the habit of giving this kid.
I stole so much chocolate milk from that school.
You need to pay that back.
They're gone.
No, see, that's why they went out of business.
You know what? I would. I would today. I would. But I was like, oh my gosh,
someone from the
Mississippi
School Board is listening to this podcast. Please let us know and where to send the money, and we will hit you up.
That school's gone. I only owe the school. It's a private school.
Somebody got gypped.
Oh yeah, they did. I got fed chocolate milk like a fat cat. I mean, it was great.
You had more chocolate milk than anybody.
I didn't know what to do with all that chocolate milk. I was so happy. And that chocolate milk, it tastes so good out of a milk carton, folks.
Isn't it wild
out of a little milk carton.
Good it tasted too.
Chocolate milk.
The little
cold
tiny milk
chocolate
carton.
milk. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It was heaven.
Why is that?
Even the white milk was great.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it all tasted different. Everything tasted different. I don't know.
It tasted great.
Whatever.
All right, so number one. What's number one? I'm so interested.
My number one is so just random. It feels like it was something out of a John Hughes movie, but it was in first grade. And it's one of those memories that's just seared in there, and it was one of the first things I thought of. It's not necessarily a happy memory, but what happened was that the teacher was late getting to class, and we were all in there just being idiots. We're 6, run spot run, and we don't care about anything in the world, and we were left unattended for a little too long. This morning. Yeah, no.
What kind of school did you have? Here, watch a movie, kids. Here, go unattended.
Yeah, we didn't have to clean the damn lunchroom on Fridays either.
Dang.
But you got double chocolate milk, so it balances out, I think. And I just remember she was gone, and we were all expecting her to come back, and we were good kids for the most part, just nuts.
Yeah.
But it sort of sunk in a little bit, like she's been gone a while. I wonder if she's coming back. We started to wonder, like, are we just going to get to play
I wish
in this?
my teacher's away.
Right. So we started to like really act ridiculous. Like we started to get brave, like what you were just talking about. We got to be the brazen little thieves, and we started playing with the erasers and drawing them on the chalkboard. And like this was unheard of. It's first grade, and but she was gone. And then as time went on, we just started getting bolder and bolder. And I remember this kid, and I have
where would she go?
I don't know. She's probably in the hallway, like
smoking.
She was probably on the other side of the door talking to her friend. I don't know.
Okay.
But
this is a bit before cell phones. So.
No, I mean, I doubt very much that she was far away.
Getting drunk.
I doubt very, very much.
Drinking.
She could
heavy
have.
drinking.
You know what? Who knows? But
like all day with these
job.
kids.
That is a hard job. I have so much respect.
Some moron keeps screaming out 17 all day.
Right? She just walks out of the room. Like, what would you have done in that situation? I would have walked out too. So this kid who I don't remember if I ever had another class with him afterward. But I remember he had one of the most difficult names to spell, and I probably still couldn't spell it, but I remember it till the day I die. His name was Michael Newkowski, and it was like Knewski or something like that.
It's funny. Grade school names you never forget.
It's wild. I
haven't seen some of my grade school friends in decades, and I still know their names.
So Michael Newkowski, I was 6 years old, and he was the most brazen of them all. Like, we were all getting wild and crazy while the teacher's gone. Michael Newkowski climbs into the trash can. It was after recess because people were coming back into the room. And for some reason, there was a delay. Like, a lot of us were in the room. And for some reason, there was a delay on kids coming into the room. And that's where the teacher was. Like, she was, probably shepherding the stragglers or something. And Michael Newkowski climbs into the garbage can, which is next to the door to the classroom. And as the door would open, or we would, like, someone would be keeping watch through the little window in the door.
Right.
And
we'd look at.
Oh, Jenny's coming. And then as soon as the door would open, Michael Newkowski from the trash can would just jump out and like scare him, right? He would just like, rawr, so he'd yell or something like that. And just scare the crap out of everybody. And it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my entire life. We all were in tears laughing. He had us rolling. And so he gets braver and braver. And then, we were like, oh, so-and-so's coming. Oh, Chris is coming. We're going to get him. And then he got everybody. He just nailed it. And then somebody else was keeping watch. It wasn't my turn to keep watch. Because I know I didn't feel guilty.
Because you don't fall asleep on the job.
Because I didn't fall asleep on the job. I was sitting in my desk being good. And somebody else told Michael Newkowski that somebody in the class was coming, but no, it was the teacher the whole time, and I could see her through the window. And I was like, "Oh, that's not Chris. That's the teacher." Oh, Michael, don't do it. But I was paralyzed.
Oh no!
I couldn't tell him not to do it.
Wait, so it was your fault?
Maybe it was. I couldn't.
The lookout failed.
I couldn't get it out. But no, the lookout lied to him directly. Like the lookout knew it was the teacher.
And didn't do anything.
They said it on purpose because we talked about it afterwards. Yeah, they set Michael up to fail.
Dirty.
And so the door opens and she comes in. And I saw him shrivel like mid shriek. And you saw the horror come over his face, like, oh no, what have I done? And she just looks down at Michael. She's like, get out of the trash can. It was just, it was done. It was over. But to all of us, like just watching that happen, just the horror of like, oh my God,
that is hilarious.
He just scared the teacher. What's gonna happen?
You looked up from reading about vampire bats to see what was going on just in time.
Right, just in time to see it was the teacher. But just the complete shift of Michael Newkowski going from I'm so confident and I'm the funniest man on earth to oh God, it's the teacher in there, and then him just shriveling into the trash can like he became a piece of trash for a second. And I'll
hilarious.
Never forget that guy. For
that
as
is
long
hilarious.
That may be some of the inspiration for some of my theater work. It's just like sort of going mid action and then having a realization and then just shrinking into nothing. Like he was brilliant. So good job.
That is weird. I still remember almost every kid I went to high school with.
Isn't that crazy? Grade school with the names and everything. I'm still friends with some of them on Facebook.
Charlie Wallace, Ron Ivy,
right?
Aaron Hines. Oh my gosh. Okay, so anyway, my number one 4-H lady came to our school one day.
The 4-H lady.
4-H lady. We were going to be a 4-H club, and
I never did that. Never did 4-H.
But because we were a small school, she tried to make up 20 positions for the 20 kids, but there weren't that many positions. She had to do assistant 2, assistant 2, assistant 2. What finally got down to where it was like janitor.
Assistant to as in TOO. You're an assistant.
The assistant to the
assistant to the whatever.
Secretary, assistant to the president,
down
assistant
to the
treasurer,
janitor.
Down to the where she started making up things like the janitor.
Oh, okay.
And then I was assistant to the janitor because no one voted for me for anything. I lost to janitor by some other kid that everyone hated. So I was so unpopular. So I was demoralized.
Votes on that
because she wanted everyone to have a role.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
This
and
is
so
your
the
number
janitor,
one?
who was a moron.
This is your number one?
Hold on.
Okay.
The janitor was a moron, and he made me do all the work while he supervised.
What was his name? We still remember it.
Michael Phillips.
Damn it, Michael
And so
Phillips.
Anyway,
Not Michael Phelps. Michael Phillips.
Phillips,
all
yeah.
Right.
And so anyway, the next year I vowed to myself, I said, I'm going to be president.
Shut up, you did not.
So I got together a campaign. I made paper because I said, can
How
we
old
run
do
for
you reckon you were?
10, 11, 12,
You're
somewhere around here.
to be the president of the 4-H
Vowing to be the
club.
president.
Right.
So I put up signs where I could, the hallways and the cafeteria.
You campaigned. Oh.
First one to campaign. A few other people started campaigning after that. But I campaigned for president and one other person, my brother.
You're
he
kidding.
campaigned too. Because he saw me making signs, so he made signs too.
This is a big deal.
So what I did is I went up to the 4-H lady. I said, excuse me. I said, instead of doing assistants to everyone, I said, can the president pick a cabinet of people, of advisors? And she went, yes.
Where did you get that idea from?
Well, from regular politics. Dad had told me about there's a cabinet of people and blah, blah. Because I was just asking about what the president does and what it was like.
Okay,
and I was like, that's interesting. So cabinet's his appointees? And he said, yeah. And so I said, can I have a cabinet of like 5 to 6 people? She's like, that's a better idea than making everyone assistant. She went, sure. And so then I started making political promises.
No, you didn't.
I told this kid, I said, how would you like to be...
There are so many things coming together for me in your personality right now.
I said, how would you like to be my chief of security? I'd love that. I was like, okay. He said, but you and 3 other people, but you have to, they all have to vote for me. Okay.
Oh my
and so I said, and then you have to get someone else to vote for me too.
Oh my goodness.
And
you ran a Ponzi scheme.
Yes, I did. I made deals. And so then I went up to someone and said, how would you like to be in my cabinet of advisors? I said, okay, you will be a cabinet of advisors. You have to vote for me. You have to find someone else. And that's what I did. I made promises all around. Landslide victory.
Like Palpatine in the Senate,
I was the assistant to the janitor. Now I'm the president, and all you mother heifers are going to pay. There's going to be new laws coming down in the 4-H club. Nothing happened.
Was your first act just to form the Grand Empire?
No, but get this. I felt like the Emperor.
Grand Empire of the Republic?
I never opened a door.
Shut up.
My security team did that.
No.
They followed me and they're like, yes, Mr. President. Yes, Mr. President. Come on, security. And they felt cool because security, you know.
Did they have merit
And they
badges?
walked 2 in front of me, 2 in the back.
Oh, my word.
And they'd open doors for me and they'd go in first and I'd say, get the door.
How long did this go on?
I said, Mr. President said, I need water. And say, I'll go to the water fountain. Get water for the president. I said, thank you.
So, like, political dramas are really exciting for you to watch because you have a lot of flashbacks. So you're watching, you know, like, Kevin Spacey do his thing, and
I'd like to quote Pee Wee's Big Adventure as Pee Wee as Pee Wee tells
Pee Wee Herman
as Pee Wee the last line where Pee Wee tells Dottie, I don't need to watch it. I lived it. His own movie. I lived it, the dream there. I would like to say you have given me so many honorable mentions that I could do this all over again. But
tell them Large Marge sent you.
Tell them Large Marge sent you, man. I actually taught my brothers in school, both of them.
You what?
Taught my brothers in grade school. One was a math class. It was a grade behind me. The teacher came in and he said, does anyone know how to get kids to understand greater than, less than? How did your teacher do it? I said, she taught us Pac-Man. He goes, what's Pac-Man? I went, you know what Pac-Man is?
The bigger number.
He didn't know that. And so I walked in and showed the kids Pac-Man. Well, my brother was in that class. And I was like, do you understand it? Do you understand it, Jeremy? Do you have any questions? He hated that I was teaching him stuff. Said, pay attention, class. And I was like so snooty in front of him. But I had to teach him. And then from my other brother, what had happened? I was helping out. Something had happened. I was homeschooled my last year in Mississippi. I was homeschooled.
Okay.
But my mom wasn't paying attention, and I found out that I did a day's work accidentally. Mom goes, "Oh, well, I guess on Friday you won't have to do that much." And I was thinking, "Wait, you can get ahead."
I'm gonna climb up in the trash can.
I got ahead, so I could take a week off. But then it wanted to be a month off. I was done 2 months into it. I said, "Mom, I'm all done. Look," and she went, "Huh." And so she told my dad, she went, "No, he's done it all. Steve, he's done it all." So they didn't know what to do with me. So they stuck me in a class with a teacher who was expecting a baby.
Did you feel
on the last few weeks
that you still had to go to school?
I was pissed.
I would've been mad.
I was pissed.
Yeah.
But I was helping her out. I was going to be her helper because she was pregnant.
She was very pregnant.
Well, then she had the baby early. She had to leave class. So then I took over for 2 weeks.
No.
The principal checked on me. But it was like a first grade. It was a simple.
Still.
But I would teach them stuff, and the other teacher would check on me, too, to make sure I wasn't going crazy. But my other brother was in that class, too. And I said, "Can you spell that?"
Much to his chagrin.
And I'd look at him, "Dummy, can you spell that?"
No, you didn't.
Oh, yes, I
you
wrote
would,
it in.
Like,
older brother
up.
mean. But you know what? She actually paid me $40, which I thought I was rich.
I'm sorry, what?
She paid me $40
in the 80s?
In the 80s. They gave me $40 for teaching that class.
Man.
Child labor, 13 years old. It won't happen today. It happened in the 80s. But again, it was heavily supervised. Like I said, teachers were checking up on me. Principal kept walking by the windows to make sure I wasn't,
If that happened today, the up in arms.
I felt like Doogie Howser, MD, except in the thing there. Another one, talk about Charlie Wallace.
You're like wrapping up the day on your computer and talking about the lessons. And on that day, my brother
It was a typewriter. It was a typewriter.
And on that day, my brother learned how big of an idiot he was.
I'd like to think I ruined his life a little bit better that day. Charlie Wallace was a kid who stepped on a hornet's nest in the playground, and hornets went up his pants. And the teacher eventually just had to strip his pants off just to get the hornets out. And so, of course, then you're tidy whities, and you were showing it. And so everyone laughed at him for the whole school year for that.
Charlie.
That's something you don't forget.
That's awful.
I was master of the tetherball. I was super tall, too, but I always won in tetherball. Tetherball was my thing. There's a kid, Aaron Hines, who was a little crazy. He swore he saw invisible people. Vern was his invisible friend, and he said, "Vern sees you. Vern's in your ear. Vern's up in your nose. Vern's telling me this. Vern's telling me that."
Like Ernest P. Worrell?
I guess, but that's why he talked like this, and he talked like Vern sees you there. And so then I said, "I see Vern." And he said, "You don't see Vern. No one sees Vern." But then, because I started acting crazy, I said, "No, Vern's right there. He's right." And then he said, "Yeah, Matt can see Vern." And so then I was the only other person besides him who could see Vern.
Whoa.
And we'd make jokes together.
Whoa.
Because I pretended that... But he was crazy. All right, so anyway, and then another honorable mention.
That's amazing.
Was our teacher, our principal had a paddle. They used to paddle you. They used to whoop you in school.
Oh, I know.
Back in the day, and it was supposed to be a hand. The paddle was the shape of a hand, like this.
Okay.
Unfortunately, whoever made it didn't count right. There were 6 fingers, a thumb and 5 fingers.
Hello, my name is Inigo. No,
and that's exactly.
No,
we called it the 6-fingered hand.
6-fingered hand.
It is the 6-fingered hand. Hello. And the teacher had a direct line to the principal and in her desk. And when she would call when kids got in trouble, like David Hanks. No, not David Hanks. I know that kid. David Smith was his name. No, Ashley Smith. David Smith was his name. When David or Michael or anyone got in trouble, she'd call and hang up. Then they said, "You're not going to be laughing for long." And sure enough, you could see there were 3 windows going up to the door.
Yeah.
And you could see the principal going to passing one window, and then wall,
then
second window, wall,
dun, dun, dun.
third window. And
Inigo Montoya.
The 6-fingered hand is in his hand. He comes in and say, "Michael,
no,
thanks." And then Michael gets up and like, "Oh no,
no."
And you hear, "What?" Whap!
Right outside the door.
Oh, it was like they were. It was like Darth Vader was torturing Han Solo, and I was Lando, just sitting out there. Yeah.
Why are they doing this?
Why are they doing this? And then, he comes on in, rubbing his bottom. He didn't even ask me any questions. I feel terrible.
That's why that scene resonates so much.
I'd go to the principal. He's no good to me, Dad.
He's no good to me, Dad. He's worth a lot to me. The Empire will compensate you if he dies.
I mean, Michael Phelps was so bad that kid got frozen in carbonite by then. Meanwhile, at cinema grade school, Benjamin's watching, Ferris Bueller's Day Off on Fridays.
No, man, it was Star Wars. I'm telling you. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Hey, folks, there's our grade school memory. I did have fun. I know you didn't.
That was a good time. No,
that was a good time.
I didn't enjoy grade school, but I did enjoy this. Yeah,
right.
It was worth it. All those years just to do this.
That's right. Hey, folks, you know what? We may see you next time on more Saturday
Morning
Samoflange.
Peace out.